G'day guys, it's the coach, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing Broken Realms Teclis. It's a second book from the Broken Realms series, and it's going to explore a different part of the story in the Mortal Realms. And as you can probably imagine, Lumineth Realm-Lords will have something in this story, but I'm not going to tell you about who the protagonists are and what it's all about, but rather go through the rules and what are some of the armies that have been touched by this particular book. So there won't be any spoilers, guys. You won't have to freak out. If you are interested in the Age of Sigmar narrative, or if you are collecting some of these armies, you'll get to see how it's going to potentially benefit you. So without further ado, let's actually go through the rules and see what is changing in Broken Realms Teclis. So first off, it might be worth calling out here that in the Broken Realms series, they don't always touch every single army. Broken Realms Morathi talked about cities of Sigmar, Stormcast, the Daughters of Cain, obviously. There was a couple of different factions. And in this particular one, we are going to touch 5 factions. Some are going to be impacted more than others. However, the people who are going to benefit from this book is going to be your Lumineth Realm-Lords, your cities of Sigmar, Flesh Eater Courts, Ossiarch Bonereapers, and your Maggotkin of Nurgle. Now, I will put a caveat, unlike the Morathi book, which was pretty generous on giving sub-allegiances and all these other things to other armies, this one has been kinder to some armies more than others. So you'll notice Cities of Sigmar is going to gain a whole new city. So you're going to touch this city in the realm of Hysh. And you're going to gain all of the cities of Sigmar benefits. So unlike what they did with Harkness and with Misthaven, you are still going to be able to tap into the benefits of having your adjutant, your endless spells. So good news, cities of Sigmar folk, and we'll talk about the rules very soon. Your Maggotkin of Nurgle are going to get 3 War Scroll updates. So 3 of the units are going to get updated to their rules, which is awesome. And there's a new battalion. Flesh Eater Courts and Ossiarch Bonereapers. If you are one of these players, the only thing you're going to get from this book is 1 new battle tome per army. So there are no sub-allegiances. There are no War Scroll changes for Ossiarch or for Flesh Eaters. It's merely 1 War Scroll. And then finally, if you are a Lumineth player, I know there's been a lot of confusion or questions in regards to, I own the current Lumineth Realm-Lords book, what do I need to do next? Because we've just seen a whole explosion of new units. You've gotten yourself the Wind Spirits, you're going to see yourself getting the Law Seekers, the Ballistas. The range has literally doubled in size. So Games Workshop will put out a really good little explanation here, and by looking at the new Lumineth book, which Games Workshop also was kindly to send me, as well as Broken Realms Teclis, I've been able to see this come to life. So this is 100% accurately true. If you are an existing Lumineth Realm-Lords player and you already have the original Battle Tome, you don't have to go and buy all 3 books. You can use Broken Realms Teclis in addition to your old already owned Battle Tome, and with those 2 books combined, you'll have everything you need to run your Lumineth with the new and old units. If you are a brand new Lumineth player, the only book you need is the new Battle Tome. Now, there's an argument here that, if you are interested in the narrative and the story and the lore, you want to pick up yourself Broken Realms Teclis. You want to hear about what's happening. So if you're a lore enthusiast, you definitely want to pick this up regardless if you own the Battle Tome or not. For some people who are already owning the existing Battle Tome and maybe you don't want to be carrying around multiple books, you might want to buy the new book, but you don't have to, but it might just be easier for you to carry around 1 book as opposed to 2 books. That's really up to you. But we'll talk about the first army to get. And by the way, Lumineth, I'll actually do a proper review show. We'll do proper talking about the lists. I just don't want to get too much into the weeds because we haven't got FAQs yet. And as always, these shows are always going to likely change depending on how any FAQs might impact the armies. But the first one I'm going to speak about, the one that probably I'm most passionate about and probably the one that's gotten the most love, other than obviously Lumineth, is the cities of Sigmar. So cities of Sigmar, as you know, they already have 2 realms of settlement. They are living in Akshi and they're living in Gairan. We've now got a city unlocked in the realm of Hish. The city is called the Settler's Gain. Now, I mentioned earlier that if you're a cities player and you looked at Broken Realms Morathi, you would have noticed that Harkuron and Misthaven, the 2 new cities introduced, they forfeited a lot of the rules from Cities of Sigmar. Now, the good news is as a cities player, you get to keep all of the stuff from your battle tome. So you can still use your amplified sorcery, so it allows you to still run your empowered endless spells. You can still use your honored retinue, so you can still use your general's adjutant. So getting yourself a 4, if your general has 6 wounds or less, they can generate a command point, or they can bounce off mortal wounds. So there's a whole bunch of cool things. You still get to keep your Cities of Sigmar stronghold rules, so you can still ally in your Stormcast 1 in 4. But some of the benefits you're going to get from this is, so first off, being a city of Sigmar, you must be in Hish. So if you're taking a realm artifact, it must be from Hish. You're landlocked there. No different to what you're already experiencing in cities of Sigmar. Now, what's really cool about it is there's a couple of things that I'm really interested in. Actually, I want to run this as a tournament. I'm actually really excited about these rules. So, some of the things you're going to get here is you've got the Lumineth tutors. So you can choose 1 extra city settlers gain free guild hero or collegiate arcane to have an artifact of power. So you basically get a free artifact even without taking a battalion. So your army's already starting with 2 artifacts, assuming you've taken a free guild hero and a free or a collegiate arcane. So you'll notice here that the rules for Settler's Gain is really benefiting the human side of Cities of Sigmar. You can still use your elves, you can still use your Dwarden, but if you are taking Free Guild or you are taking Collegiate Arcane, it is really kind of benefiting to you, and you'll notice the keywords start popping up a bit. Your Collegiate Arcane Wizards, so your Battle Mages, your Hurricanums, your Luminarchs, are also going to get +1 to cast naturally, which is pretty sweet. You're going to get yourself some additional rules, things like 1 in every 4 units can be a Lumineth Realm-Lords unit. So it does mean that you can have 1 in every 4 to be Stormcast, 1 in every 4 to be Lumineth. So you could, in a sense, get your army down to 2 Cities of Sigmar units and then 1 in every 4 Stormcast, 1 in every 4 Lumineth. So if you have 8 units in your list, it means you can have 2 Lumineth. You have 12 units. You could have 3. You get the gist. And the cool thing as well is that regardless if you take the Stormcast or the Lumineth, they both gain the Cities of Sigmar and the Settler's Gain keyword. So that's a big benefit for synergy amongst the force. You do get yourself a command ability, and it's called Elven Training. And again, this is where I was talking about the keywords starting to become important for your Free Guild or your Collegiate Arcane. But basically, you use a command ability at the start of the Battle Shock phase. And if you do so, pick 1 friendly Settlers Gain Lumineth Hero Realm-Lords. Settlers Gain Lumineth Realm-Lords Hero. So you're going to have, if you want to take advantage, you're going to need a Lumineth Hero. And you don't take Battle Shock tests for friendly Free Guild or Collegiate Arcane wholly within 18 of that hero. So we're starting to see that, take a Lumineth hero, get yourself a nice little buff radius, 18 inches, your Free Guild or your Collegiate Arcane, although I don't know why you'd need to Battle Shock a Wizard Wagon or a Battle Mage, but it's there if you need it. You're also going to get yourself 3 different command traits to choose from. One of them is you can make your general fly. One of them allows you to generate a command point on a 4+ if there are your generals on the battlefield. Or there's another really interesting one that allows you to add +1 to your hit and wound rolls for melee attacks. But you do subtract 1 from the armor rolls or your save rolls in melee. So if you want to make a bit more of a combat monster and hit and hopefully don't get hit back, that is a cool trait as well. There are 6 spells to choose. So there's 6 artifacts to choose from. So there's some really interesting ones. And as you can probably imagine, most are going towards the wizardy type thing. So you can attempt to cast an extra spell. You can add 2. Add 2 to the bearer's melee weapon. So you can do some combat stuff. One that I'm really interested in is you can attempt to unbind or dispel. So you can unbind an endless spell without sacrificing one of your casts. So, which is pretty cool because you don't get the ability to double cast like you are in Hallowheart. So one way of getting around it is you can basically choose that your wizard doesn't have to sacrifice a cast to get rid of an endless spell. And there are a lot of endless spells on the table at the moment. There's another one that's really interesting to me, and that's basically, if you're familiar with the Fire Phoenix, the Flames Fire Phoenix, on a 4+, when that model dies, you can roll a dice. On a 4+, it comes back to life, and there is a rule very similar that allows you to do that. So the first time that the model is slain, roll a dice. On a 4+, it comes back to the battlefield on 1 wound, ignoring the damage it's just taken. So again, a couple of different options for the Settlers gain. I really like some of the list building, and it also came with a battalion. So the battalion is based around the War-magi, and what you'll notice here is that all of the, and much like the previous Broken Realms Morathi, all of these battalions make your hero a named character. So it means that they're going to start dictating any of the command traits or the artifacts, and you'll start seeing that you start to lose a little bit of customization should you take the battalion. So the War-magi is coming in at 140 points. And it does allow you to take a battle mage, and it's a named battle mage, and it must be from Hysh. So your battle mage can't be chosen. Well, this particular battle mage can't be chosen from Gur or Gairan or Shimon. It has to be from Hysh. So you gain fierce protection, which is a -1 to hit. We choose one of your units, and it's -1 to hit within 18. So you're forced to have that particular spell. But you got yourself a battle mage. You got yourself a Lumineth of Hysh. Now, you can't have a wizard on top of that. So that is just it's called the Beacon of Intellect. So it's a unheroed version of the Lumineth. And then you've also got your Celestial Hurricanum with the Battle Mage. So they'll all have to be Settlers gain keywords. So you cannot take this battalion in any of the other cities. So you can't take this battalion and make it a Hallowheart one. It must be Settlers gain. And the big benefit you're going to get from this one is the obviously, on top of the extra command point and obviously the extra artifact, would be the Beacon of Intellect. So when you use that Searing Beam Light from the Luminarch, it allows you to re-roll the dice because it does a D3 mortal wound. So you can basically you draw a line. I think it's range 30 from memory, but you draw a line, and anything within the range can take potentially D3 mortal wounds. So that can be quite tasty. But the reason I really like this particular battalion is the second part, and that is the Luminarch without the battalion will give a feel no pain, a damage prevention roll of a 6+. Within a certain radius, depending on how much damage it's taken. But this will actually increase it to a 5. So what that means is that your Luminarch is going to be giving a bubble of a 5+ feel no pain in addition to its regular armor save. And if you think about that with, let's say, your Free Guild Guard, again, something that they're rewarding you for taking Free Guilds, having a base 4+ armor save with Sword and Shield, and then a 5+ feel no pain, and Free Guild Guard are like 80 points, or I think it's like 280 points for 40 of them. That's a real hammer. That is the real anvil. Like, that can soak up a lot of damage, and it's far cheaper than your Phoenix Guard. So I know I'm looking at that as like a Phoenix Guard light, but having so many more bodies. So there's a lot of cool things. You can do that with Eternal Guard as well. Like, it's obviously not keyword dependent, but the synergies are definitely rewarding you for taking more Collegiate Arcane. When it comes to the Ossiarch Bonereapers only got a battalion. They didn't get any War Scroll changes. They didn't get any cities or any sub-allegiances. There's no legions. But what they did get is Horrocks Dreadlance. So since the changes in Petrifix Elite, you are starting to see more Staliac Lords and your Mortis Praetorian. In this particular battalion, it is rewarding you, and it's forcing you to go Staliac Lord. So you're getting a named Liege Cavalos by name of Horik, and you've also got yourself 2 units of Death Riders. So your murder ponies, essentially. That Liege Cavalos does become a named hero, so you'll start to see the impacts here that what happens is you get yourself an ability, a command trait, and an artifact. Your ability, each time you pick a unit from the battalion to rally back using that, on a 4+, you're going to get yourself a relentless discipline point. So you'll probably find, I mean, it's only a 4+, so it's not that reliable, but any additional relentless discipline was probably going to be welcomed, if you do hit the 4+. But again, 4+ is not consistent, so it's not guaranteed money in the bank. But what is money in the bank is that if Horik is your general, so the named Liege Cavalos, he will gain the Twisted Challenge command trait from the Ossiarch Bonereapers book. So it's forcing you to take a particular command trait. And if you do have Horik in your army, it doesn't have to be the general in this particular point, but if he is in your army, he must have the first artifact in your army list. And what you do get then is you've got to take the Nadirite bound artifact. So it's basically naming, and it's forcing you to go down a particular route. So I'm not too sure about this battalion. I know I've played a lot of murder ponies already, and Staliac Lords has definitely become better in the last 12 months since the changes to Petrifix Elite. Your murder ponies have, 3 wounds apiece. They're quite fast. They can be quite durable as well. So I am seeing some real benefit to this. And the 4+ relentless discipline is nice. Although I don't think I would take the Liege Cavalos, the named Liege Cavalos, as my general. I think I would try to avoid that potentially. But I'd be curious on your thoughts. I'm a bit funny on this one. I'm not quite sure. It'll be good, but I probably wouldn't. I would probably already be building around your murder ponies. Speaking of other murder, not ponies, but murdering ghouls, is you've got the Mortavelli's Hell Court. So very similar. Flesh Eater Courts did not get any additional War Scroll changes. They didn't get any additional what they're called, Grand Courts, but what they did get is a battalion. So this battalion is valued at 100 points. It's forcing you again to have a named character. It is going to be your abhorrent archregent. You've got to take a unit of Crypt Ghouls and a unit of Crypt Horrors, and you've got to be Hallowmourn. So you can't be Grizzlegore, you can't be any of the other Grand Courts. You must be Hallowmourn. Now, you're going to get 2 things here. You're going to get yourself an ability. You're going to get yourself a command trait. Your ability allows you not to take battle shock for units in the battalion wholly within 12 of the Archregent, which is an interesting one. Ghouls have a bravery of 10. So I'm not sure if I'm missing something here, but yeah, it's an interesting one, the ability. Obviously, it lowers your drops and things like that, but, ignoring battle shock, I guess it keeps the CP up your sleeve should you need it. But then you've also got your Bright Emperor command trait, which once per battle, the general can use the Ravenous Crusade command ability without spending a CP. So it's really saving you a bunch of CP. You don't have to worry about CP to do Inspiring Presence with your ghouls and your Archregent, nor do you need to spend it on your Ravenous Crusaders. So for me, maybe you're going a big block of ghouls. I'm not sure. I mean, most people at the moment are probably running either Grizzlegore or they're running something like Flayers. I'm not, but look, I think it's an interesting one. I'd be curious to see how people build around this. But it is quite restrictive on having only 1 unit of horrors and only 1 unit of ghouls. We'll see how it goes. One of the ones that has seen a really big change has been Nurgle. So Nurgle's seen 3 War Scroll changes, as well as have gained their own battalion. They got another battalion. So the first War Scroll to get changed is Sloppity Barpaper. Sloppity Barpaper has had a whole bunch of changes. The Disease of Mirth has changed. So it used to be only a radius of 7. It's now become a radius of 14. So it's become much more generous. And they're giving you like +1 to your bravery for your peeps. But you have lost the -1 bravery aura that it used to provide. So it used to be a +1 to you or -1 to your enemy. It's now only pluses to you, no negatives to your enemy. Your Jolly Gut Pipes have changed as well. So they went from re-rolling charges. So you've got some changes. So it used to be restricted to mostly Nurglings and Great Unclean Ones. But instead, you'll see that the Jolly Gut Pipes, I think I really like these. You've got 3 options now. You can either, the radius has become 14 inches. You choose it, I think it's at the start of the hero phase. And, sorry, the start of the combat phase. At the start of the combat phase, you would play one of your tunes, and it would either be +1 attack characteristic for melee weapons for friendly Nurgle demon units, which is going to be great because you're probably going to be running a whole bunch of Plague Bearers. You're either going to get yourself unmodified hit rolls becoming a mortal wound in addition to any of the damage from those melee attacks, or the one that I love, and it's called My Love is a Ripe Fart. Start ripping farts all over the tournament scene. Please don't. But it's an interesting mechanic, actually, because enemy units within 3 inches of a friendly Nurgle demon cannot finish a pile-in move closer than it started. So what you're essentially doing is when they pile in, they've got to pile back. So what you might find is models that might have started the charge and had 2 ranks in or had, lots of attacks, you might actually force them back enough that you reduce the amount of damage that you're taking. So I really like that particular one. I think all 3 of those Jolly Gut Pipe abilities are going to add a lot of flavor, especially it's going to get you to bring back your Plague Bearers as opposed to what we're mostly seeing right now, which is your pure Blight King spam. It's just like nothing but Blight Kings. Now, all of these changes have come at a cost. The Sloppity Piper used to be, I think it was 90 points. He's now at 150 points. So we have seen an increase in pricing. Speaking of increases, we've also seen another change, and that's coming in from the Spoilpox Scrivener. You have seen the Disgusting Sneeze improve from a 3 to hit to a 2 to hit. You've seen the Maw change from a 4 to wound to a 3 to wound. You've seen his save go from a 4 up down to a 5 up. So you've seen a couple of the attack profiles change to be positive, but in return, the armor save has gone down. The big benefit that you've seen, very similar to Sloppity Piper, is that you've now got this ability that you can use either one of 3. You can either, at the start of the combat phase, make this call, and you pick one friendly Plague Bearer unit within 14 inches, and it's going to have one of these effects, whether it's going to be +1 attack characteristic for melee weapons in combat. It's going to be either improving the Ren characteristic by 1. That's very tasty. Or you can add +1 to the save rolls of those Plague Bearers. So again, it's really rewarding you for your Plague Bearers as opposed to your Blight Kings. And finally, you've got, and as I mentioned, the price went up. He went up to, I think it's 140. So you have seen a bit of a price increase as well. Finally, the Beast of Nurgle, it's also gone up. It's gained some benefits, and it has gone from 70 points, I think it was, to 120. So again, we've seen some points increases for these. But what you've gained from your Beast of Nurgle is it's gone from 7 wounds to 8 wounds. So it's gained an additional wound on its profile, which is awesome. The melee profile of the Beast of Nurgle has completely changed. I thought it might have just been like 1 or 2 tweaks, but it's been completely revised. I think it's more consistent. I think when I looked at the old War Scroll versus the new War Scroll, there was a lot more randomness and a lot more unpredictability in the old Beast. The new Beast has a lot more consistency on the War Scroll, which I really liked. You've gained the ability to, when you retreat, you can fly. Which is super interesting, the Acid Slime Trails. You've gained a whole new ability as well with the Pestilent Battering Ram, so that I didn't see that on the old War Scroll. And you got the Attention Seekers, which is the Retreat and Fly. So that's pretty cool. I haven't really ever seen a Beast of Nurgle, so I'm hoping maybe this will incentivize people. But again, it's gone from 70 to 120. And I mean, great objective holder. You could find some real value in this. But when I look at what you're going to get, which is the battalion, the what you're going to get for 120 points is you get yourself 2 named characters. You've got a named Sloppity Barpiper. You've got yourself a named Spoilpox Scrivener. You've got yourself 2 units of Plague Bearers. And again, I just mentioned they've got to be named characters. So what it does is the first time the Plague Bearers, this one is an interesting one, and that is that the first time that a Plague Bearer unit from the battalion is destroyed, you're going to get a free unit of 10 Plague Bearers added to your army. So you set them up wholly within your territory, wholly within 6 inches of a table edge. So they're essentially coming as reinforcements, and more than 9 inches away from enemies. So this is obviously in addition to all of the other summoning that you might have from the Feculent Gnarlmaw and just, generating those summoning points. So it's great to have another particular unit, especially if you made those Plague Bearers a really big block of 30 Plague Bearers, and you finally attritioned them down and you deleted the unit and you bring back another 10. So not bad. You are going to get yourself an extra +1 to the bravery characteristic of Nurgle demons in this battalion, in addition to so while they're within 14 of Sloppity Barpiper. Now, this is in addition to the disease of mirth that's coming from the Sloppity Barpiper. So it's essentially meaning that your Plague Bearers, for example, which are already bravery 10, if you're within radius, you're going to be like bravery 12. So it's a bit of a do I need bravery 12? Probably not. It's nice to have, but it probably means it's probably going to mean that if you've got units of 10 Plague Bearers from this battalion, you probably never have to worry about Battle Shock because you're just going to have such a big boost. Or if you are taking a big block of 30 Plague Bearers, it does mean that when you add your +1 bravery for every 10, it's going to mean you're close to bravery 14, bravery 15. So you'll never have to use an inspiring presence. And, it's a nice to have, but it's probably not going to game break you. When I look at maybe some of the rules between what Nurgle got, I'm curious to know if this is going to be a really strong build, and I can see lots of Plague Bearers kind of flooding the board. Or do you take those 3 War Scroll changes and build around it with a Thricefold battalion with your Plague Bearers? I'm not quite sure, but either way, I think it's an interesting build, especially if you don't already own 3 Great Unclean Ones, or you're kind of getting bored, or too many points are tied up in the Thricefold. It does give you a different way to build your Nurgle, which, again, more options are great. So, how do I feel about all of this? Well, when I looked at the book, and again, it's a really cool book. I really enjoy the stories from Age of Sigmar. I think since we had Soul Wars, we've kind of been in a bit of a lull. We've had a lot of things come out, but the narrative hasn't really progressed. If I'm a Lumineth player, or I'm a Cities of Sigmar player, or probably even a Nurgle player, I would definitely find value in the rules in addition to the stories and the art and all the great stuff that the book comes out with. I'm already considering about Settlers Gain for an upcoming tournament. I've already got some list tech. I'm very curious to see what FAQs might come out. If you are a Flesh Eater Courts or an Ossiarch Bonereapers, look, you get 1 battalion. You literally get 1 battalion each. So would I make a purchase solely on 1 battalion? Probably not. But again, the story is rich. There's some really cool things. I'm trying not to spoil it. I'm trying not to tell you. This artwork's already out there, guys. I'm not spoiling anything, but there's some cool things that have happened. So if you want to know about the story progression and maybe how your army has played into the story of the Teclis book, go check that out. And if you're just a general Age of Sigmar enthusiast, but 1 battalion is a little bit hard when in comparison to maybe Broken Realms Morathi, which got your Deepkin got some new mount traits. You got some interesting rules for Slaves to Darkness. And by the way, those Maggotkin of Nurgle rules can be also used in partnership with the Wrath of the Everchosen. So if you are going down that build and you want to go for a sub-allegiance, take the best of Teclis, go into Wrath of the Everchosen, obviously going to Maggotkin of Nurgle, I think you can build some really interesting things. But that's my take. And as of always, the FAQ will come out likely 4 weeks after it hits the shelves. So we'll do some proper list talking. We'll start looking at how we can take these rules and make the most of it, and take some of these things with a grain of salt. We never know what is going to come out with an FAQ, but I hope you find this valuable. I know there's already a lot of information out there about the Broken Realms Teclis. This is my take. It's literally just gotten to me, and Settlers game. I'm excited. That's awesome. It's like, what do I bring? Like, do I bring the Fox? Do I bring Teclis? Do I bring the Law Seekers? Do I bring some Ballistas? I don't know. Let me know. Let me know what your thoughts are, as always. But until next time, don't forget to name your heroes. I hope you found that discussion valuable. If you did, give the video the old thumbs up. And if you have a comment or an insight, leave it in the comment section below. The champions over here are my AOS Coach Patreons and YouTube members. So you guys are bloody legends. Thank you for all the support. If you want to know more about the support programs, the links are below down here in the episode description, along with a link to the Discord server, so we can continue this conversation. Until next time, don't forget to name your characters and have a good one.